Welcome to another video tutorial from RevitPocket.com. I'm glad you're here. My name is Bert Gonzalez. Just recently I recorded some tutorials. The series was on levels and grids, and it was brought to my attention by someone who was using my tutorials that they were having issues seeing the column lines that they laid out in plan in elevation. So one of the things that happens in Revit at any given moment is that Revit is really good about being precise and particular. The software it doesn't allow you to fudge dimensions and a variety of things. And a lot of times, especially if you're working in a software, when you do things logically, especially if you were, let's say, an AutoCAD based person for a long time, things don't make sense and you can't really figure out what's going on. So I'm actually going to do this quick tutorial about the situation that came up from a user with a particular, in particular about the grids that we laid out via my tutorial. So if you look on the screen, you'll see that I have a plan view of the column lines that I laid out. And what happened was, I'm going to go to the east elevation. Now, on the east elevation, you can see that there's levels. We can see those, no problem. They're all good. But what's interesting here is that we're not seeing the column grids that were laid out in plan. Now if I go to the north, south, and west, you don't see any of them. So it was brought to my attention and someone asked, well, how come I can't see these column lines? And I looked back and I said to myself, that's kind of odd. Why isn't it happening? So I decided to open up my tutorial video file, and I went in there and I started looking and started thinking, and then it hit me. So one of the things that Revit does is, in the very basic form, it's sections, callouts, plans, any of the views that are being created. If you want to kind of break it down to its simplest idea, they're really cameras. Okay, there are camera views that are being set up, and they're showing you information via that camera. So I'm going to just zoom in over here a little bit, and if you notice, this is the elevation marker to show you building elevation in Revit. And if I hover over it, you can see it says Views Elevation West. So this is my west elevation marker over here. Now, if you notice that the marker is not parallel with the property line here, and that's where the problem comes in. So if I go to the west elevation, we don't see anything going on. I'm going to go back to level 1. And when I go back to level 1, I'm going to actually just window this elevation. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate it. And I'm going to rotate it 12 degrees. I just happen to know that 12 degrees is what I need to make this elevation parallel to the property line. So I'm going to click my rotation to start, and then I'm going to move it in the direction that I want to go, and I'm going to actually hit 12 because that's 12 degrees, and that's what I want. And once I do that, now the elevation, for the most part, is looking parallel to the area that I want to show in elevation. I'm also going to do a couple other things while I'm here. I'm going to change the clip to clip with line. Let's see what else I want to change here. Yeah, you know what? Maybe I'm going to go clip without line. And that's fine. I'll get into that later on in another series. But what I'm going to do is just kind of move my elevation. I'm going to actually pull this crop box back. Actually, I'm going to go back to clip with line just to be consistent. And now what I'm going to do is, now that the elevation is parallel with the property line, if I go back to that west elevation, now you can see the column lines that were laid out in plan. So basically what the issue was the column lines were always there, but because of the skew of the elevation looking in that direction, it didn't show us the column lines. It's one of these little weird quirks. So in order for me to see that, that's what I had to do. And now that I can see it, what I'm going to do here is, I can come into my view and I can clean things up. You can see that some of the other things are here. These other levels below can be pulled over and, just nice and neat. So I'm not going to get into that now, but I just wanted to bring that to your attention because it's something that may not hit you up front as soon as you start working in the software, but it's definitely there. So hopefully this helps you out. If you have any comments or Any questions, please field them to me. I'm definitely here to answer and to learn some more things about Revit because obviously it's a software that's not going anywhere. So I appreciate any comments you have, and thanks for watching.